a couple quick announcements as we get started. Maybe moving some windows around here, make sure I got everything like organized. Excuse me. So I do want to make sure everyone's following us on Twitter, so you can follow the IndyAWS Twitter account. Use the IndyAWS hashtag if you want to live tweet about tonight's event. We do have one of our folks from 6 Feet Up in the room. Laura and Cameron are kind of switching off on the live tweeting of the session tonight. So there will be content coming in live on the Twitter account. So if you want to comment, follow, like, whatever on the Twitter stuff, that would be really cool, because that actually helps with engagement online, and people enjoy following what's going on with the IndyAWS on the Twitters. I do want to make sure I point out we have awesome sponsors tonight. We've got 2 sponsors, and our organizing sponsor is 6 Feet Up. IndyAWS is brought to you by 6 Feet Up. 6 Feet Up is a Python and cloud expert consulting company that helps innovative tech leaders build apps faster, innovate with AI and ML, simplify big data, and leverage cloud technology. Modern technologies and processes, we make anything possible for our clients. And I know that Laura has a smile on her face because I just said that, because she's our marketing person. But I'm Calvin Hendricks Parker, and I'm co-founded 6 Feet Up in 1999. And I also have been the CTO since then. And I'm proud to be an AWS community hero. So that's 6 Feet Up. Thank you for all hopefully frequenting our sponsors. Our other sponsor for the evening is Refi Health. I don't see Jeff. Is Jeff in the room? No Jeff tonight. But they're an awesome sponsor in the community. They're local. Well, they have a local presence in Indiana, but I believe they're based out of Boston, and they are looking to hire lots of Python and cloud people, which typically co-intersect at IndyAWS, which is why they're sponsoring for us. So check out refihealth.com/careers for more information. They will be happy you did. If you are interested in sponsoring IndyAWS as well, make sure you message Laura at 6feetup.com. She will get you the hookup for helping us spread the word on all things cloud and AWS. Look for changes coming soon to the formats for sure. We have our Slack channel on Indie Hackers. We don't have a dedicated organization, but there is an inviter link right here for the Indie Hacker Slack. Once you're joined the Indie Hacker Slack, just head on over to the IndyAWS channel, and you can chat with other fellow AWS lovers, aficionados, and enthusiasts. In addition to the IndyAWS Slack channel on there, I also recommend the DevOps channel. And it's also a good channel for folks who are interested in things we're interested in to sit and chat about. Now, big news. We've got all kinds of stuff going on this evening as far as like giveaways, but I want to first talk about the upcoming Python Web Conference. Next week, starting Monday, we have over 90 speakers and over 400 attendees from 40 countries. Banjo, you're going to show off that shirt, all right? So Banjo's got on the official jersey from this year's conference. I don't even have mine yet, and Banjo's got his. So that is the official jersey for this year's conference. Check it out on pythonwebconf.com. There are some discount codes online for you to find if you go check out Python WebConf's Twitter account. There are an amazing array of speakers. I'm really, really proud of this year's lineup of speakers. You will not be disappointed. There are 2 app dev tracks. There's a cloud track, a PyData track. There's going to be a culture track, and then a tutorial track all 5 days of the conference. So if you are interested in some specific topic, I'm sure we've got you covered. Check out pythonwebconf.com, and we will look forward to seeing you next week at the conference. Now, this is where the giveaways start coming in right now, okay? Pay attention. Everyone get out their pencils. We want you all to help us make IndyAWS even better, and we're willing to give you a free ticket to the conference next week to do it. So if you go to this URL, bit.ly/IndyAWS_PWC 2022, we will be asking for your feedback on the types of speakers you want to see at IndyAWS. And all you got to do is fill out one question, give us your name and email so we can give you the ticket if you win. Laura, how long are we running the giveaway here? To Wednesday, tomorrow?
This is tomorrow. Yeah, it ends tomorrow. So the winner will be announced one day. Okay, so fill it out tonight. It's really fill
it out tonight or tomorrow morning, and we will do a random drawing for those who fill out the survey to give us your input on what you want to see. You'll get a free ticket to Python Web Conference for doing so. I'm guessing your odds are pretty darn good, given the number of people here. So check it out, get a free ticket, and then come join us next week at the Python Web Conference. By the way, if you hadn't noticed, we have moved to MeetingPlace.io. If you want to claim your Meetup.com profile over on MeetingPlace.io, that would be great. Just head over to this URL right here, and you can claim your Meetup.com profile on MeetingPlace.io. That is where all the official updates, events will be posted to. And if you want to be in the running for the door prize, we're doing door prizes tonight too, right, Laura?
We are doing a single door prize.
A single door prize tonight. So if you want to be in the running for the single door prize this evening, make sure you are RSVP'd for tonight through meetingplace.io, because that is the only official way to win. If you're only RSVP'd on meetup.com, forget about it. Not considering you. So get over there. As soon as Banjo's done with his talk and we're kind of wrapped up on questions, I will do a standard live code random drawing from the RSVPs that are on meetingplace.io for tonight's event. So if you're RSVP'd over there, you're in the running for, oh, let's go back. Sorry, one too far, but we're going to give away tonight. What's tonight's giveaway is another ticket, right?
It is the PwC ticket, yeah.
Yes, so we've got another PwC ticket we're giving away. So if you are present in the room and RSVP'd on meetingplace.io, you will be in the running for another Python Web Conference ticket for next week. So that is the ticket in the giveaway for tonight. Whew, all that being said, I'm done. I promise. I took more time than I probably should have, but I do want to now hand the floor over to Banjo. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to talk about tracking, analyzing, and visualizing user group data with AWS. So I'm excited to hear about our group data. So I'm going to stop my share and turn it over to Banjo.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Banjo Obayomi. I'm a senior developer advocate at AWS. So that just means I get to get people excited about AWS. And Meetups is a great venue for that. And I love Meetups. So I organize 3 Meetups and a podcast. I also like JRPG games. Does anyone like Final Fantasy or Persona, Dragon Quest? Love to talk about that. And you can follow me on Twitter at @BanisDemand. So always happy to talk. But yeah. But let's talk about Meetup activity. So when I first joined AWS recently, probably about 6-7 months ago, Meetups were kind of on a lull. I mean, with COVID, everything's offsite, online, hasn't been about Meetup activities. But I wanted to see how can we get the data to kind of confirm what we saw. So this is a graph I was able to generate. Basically, when I made this, active Meetups in the past 3 months was about 37% versus 63% not active. And if you look 12 months before that, 60% of the Meetups were active. And I define active as having an event within 3 months. So a gradual decline of just Meetup activity. And so I wanted to know, okay, how can we collect this data? How can I take action on this? So this kind of spurred me to make a solution that mechanize getting this data and then be able to take action and insights and have nice, pretty dashboards like this. So, for example, the indie group has been very active. So thank you all for being active and having meetups all the time. It's a small group compared to some others, but it's active, so it doesn't matter. Just making sure people are there, being engaged, and that's really all we can ask for. So these are some of the past events you've had. I'm happy to be here now. So I'm going to talk through my solution that I built. Basically, it's going to walk through how I leverage Amazon location service to get the location of the actual meetups, how I got the meetup data from Meetup itself. I have a Lambda function that's doing all kinds of processing, updates the data to S3. It's running on 24 hours. And then I have a nice Quicksite dashboard. So I'm going to walk through how I built this, and I'll leave room for questions at the end or throughout. But first, getting the meetup data. So that's always the first thing. You need data before you can do anything. So my first question for everyone is, has anyone used REST or GraphQL endpoints, and what are your experiences using those? Okay, yeah, Calvin.
Don't be bashful. Feel free to raise your hands, use the reactions. David Soul, he's certainly a REST monster.
In fact, I am working right now with some REST. It's great to connect different systems. So I take the information from one system, from one product, and use it to drive the behavior of another system, and it's very easy, very nice.
Yeah, I find REST APIs easy to use because you just hit an endpoint and you get data. You're just posting something. Well, GraphQL definitely is more nuanced, but you can do a lot more with that. So the edge cases, especially when it comes to REST, there might be like a limitation on how much times you can hit the endpoint. And that comes up a lot. With GraphQL, it's much more easier to not get rate limited because of how you're requesting the data. So that's one of the big things I see when comparing those two. Can I copy the chat content note messages?
You can safely ignore PW most of the time. Okay. I'll let you know if there's something important comes from him.
Good to know.
How dare you?
Like, copy joke. Okay.
But yeah. Accurate.
For this, so I leverage GraphQL for the Meetup. The GraphQL API is relatively new for Meetup, so of course it's not going to work 100% of the time, but it was good to just future-proof my application. So this is an example of a GraphQL query in Python. It's basically you can set up a giant, find the group URL by name, you pass in the URL, request what fields you want, and then you can nest fields like get past events as well. And then it's once you set up the query, you can just use a simple get request and you get the data back as a JSON object. So here's an example of Boston group. But yeah, you see everything matches: URL, name, city, state, zip code, people in the group, etc. And this is how I'm able to collect the data for my application. And pretty straightforward. And once I have that data, I'm going to use Amazon Location Service. So Amazon Location Service allows you to basically use reverse geocoding. So basically, we were able to get the zip, the state, but we actually need like latitude and longitude because I want to map these on an actual map. So by using Location Service, we can actually pass in that information and get an actual latitude, longitude back. So here's an example. Python again, using photo 3, then I'm able to just get that location, and then I get the latitude and longitude, and then you get back, that's what I really want, so I can put this on a map. So has anyone used reverse geocoding in any way? Any thoughts on that? How easy do you find it? Like to hear feedback.
So would you just want a statement?
Yeah, just curious to see if people.
So we actually tried experimenting with it. Actually, I should say our dev teams tried. We liked it. I think there was a knowledge gap in the dev team to utilize it, so they actually fell back to using Google APIs. However, going forward, I'm looking at, because we're doing geolocation and reverse geolocation for property management systems. So I am really starting to look at that. So now I was going to talk about REST APIs because we're building a whole infrastructure out of REST APIs, but backing that with this location service. So definitely would like to see more about this.
Yeah, and you see it's very simple for like reverse geocoding. Like it's just a simple, like literally one request, get the search place index, and then you get back this giant JSON with the information you need. So for my use case, it was very easy to set that up. There's a little click ops you have to do to set up this search place index, but it's relatively straightforward. And once that's done, you just call this API call and you get back the latitude, longitude, which is all I needed.
So is this an AWS service that's basically just wrapping around Esri, like the commercial product? Okay.
So Esri is like the provider, that's what we call it. So AWS is taking kind of the making you to be able to do like set up a map, call the geocoding, but Esri is in the background basically.
Can it provide multiple location options in a query?
Yeah.
So if we have so go ahead. Yeah, it's basically what we're trying to do is we've got I'm at a point, I've got a location point and I want to find properties within a certain radius. So I've got a geolocation. I want to kind of reverse search out to, a 50-mile radius. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, you see, this result. So it's an array. So there could be multiple results.
Mhm.
I only care about the first one but this could be 50, 20 results, whatever. And
Okay.
all the stuff you need for there. So for our use case, 0, get that.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let me move on. And then once I get the data, the location service, do some pandaing using Panda. It's basically a tool for data and creating data sets. To make my data set, I upload this S3, nothing crazy here, get the date time, save it to a CSV, upload, and then I have a nice CSV file with all the information I need for my application. Once it's in a CSV file, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. So that's like always make it easy and a nice data set so I can use. Anyone use pandas, PyData tools? Anyone like pandas? Has anyone found something else to use besides pandas? always looking for new tools. So now the next part is how I leverage Amazon and Eventbridge. So all this stuff I did locally on my machine first, and obviously that's great for testing. But if I want to collect data every day, I don't want to have to load the script up and run it all the time and worry about it. I just want it to run in the cloud and not have to look at it. I just want to look at a dashboard at the end of the day. I don't want to be running my script all the time or set up a cron job or a system D when my computer boots up. So Eventbridge is a way to just automate my code. So how I leverage Eventbridge, I used Amazon SAM, so Serverless Application Model. And it's basically an opinionated framework of launching Lambda functions using like a YAML. So you can see my very simple Lambda function that just calls get meetup data, and it's going to do all the code that we just talked about. And then what a SAM template looks like, it's basically, I'm just saying, use the S3 bucket that I have, run this function, pass it. It's going to be able to write to the bucket that I want to a CSV file. And this event is the important part. So you can basically say, run this every 24 hours, and it's just going to run that code, and it'll upload a new CSV every day. And it's very simple. Once I have this, you literally just run like SAM init, SAM build, SAM deploy, and then this whole solution is running in the cloud, runs every 24 hours, catching my data.
So why SAM versus CDK?
So
we're looking at both. We've got CDK in-house right now, and we've been looking at SAM. The development team keeps pushing back to CDK. So what do you think? Why SAM?
Yeah, so for this solution, you see how very simple it was. So if I have a very scope thing, I know exactly what I'm doing. SAM is easier to just start up and just go. CDK can do a lot more than SAM, so it's not as opinionated. It's more, these are the building blocks to do anything you can do in CloudFormation in a codified way. So if you have a very complex framework or you don't know exactly what you need and things are going to be expanding and different things are happening, CDK is a better base, because SAM, you'll be locked into a box and you're just constrained by what it allows you to do, but CDK is more free. So that's why I like guidance. So for me, SAM was easier. It was simple. This is literally the code for SAM and these commands, and that set up my entire solution.
Okay.
Does anyone else use SAM or CDK that has thoughts?
I was going to say with SAM, like this setup here, you can actually test this locally before you do the build and deploy.
Yeah, and that, Calvin, is one of the reasons why I've been looking at SAM, is helping the teams figure out that local testing environment, right? So they struggle with that local development versus AWS.
I'll interject one thing here, though. If you want to go more than what SAM does, I agree with Banjo's opinion. Like that, SAM is a nice and opinionated framework. But if you want the CDK route or Terraform, where I'm building lots of infrastructure, you may want to look at something like LocalStack for local dev that can have access to what look like real cloud resources, but they're all run local.
Yeah, we've looked at local stack as well. I think we're just evaluating. I've used SAM before and I've used CDK, but we're heavily invested in CDK right now.
In my experience, I love CDK, but to develop a small serverless application, it was easier with SAM.
Yeah, opinionated frameworks are great when you know like exactly what you need to do and you just build it out. But with CDK is more, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to learn what the end state's going to be, or we need to expand. So yeah, I agree with that. All right. So then Quicksite. So Quicksite's the tool that actually allows you to actually make the actual dashboard so you can get insights. For Quicksite, you have to make something called a manifest file, which just says what S3 bucket I want to use. And then it has, I'm able to get my Meetup daily data, and then I can play around and make cool dashboards. So let me have a Quicksite example here. Oops. Yeah, so if you never use Quicksite, it's a pretty straightforward tool. Well, maybe not straightforward, but it's a tool that allows you to do a lot of things. So like you can make a pie chart, bar chart. You say what do you want in the data, up to change it up here. You can kind of say, this is dummy data, but you can put what fields you want, drag and drop, change y-axis values. So there's a lot of things you can do. It could be a bit overwhelming if you're not knowing what to do, but you can just drag and drop and move things and you play around with a bit. I don't know if there's a way to automate these dashboards. Whenever you're making dashboard, you want to see how it looks like. So playing around with the interface, drag and drop in. They have a lot of cool samples and whatnot, the themes, colors, all sorts of stuff you can do. But yeah, has anyone used Quicksite, or does anyone make dashboards? Like to get your opinion on that.
Actually, we're heavily using Quicksite. We've got a Elasticsearch RDS backend that we export data to our S3 buckets for internal and external analytics through Quicksite. So it is overwhelming for new users, but I've got a pretty good data engineer that can munge through most everything on the backside and get them some baseline data dashboards that are pretty nice.
Yeah, the business analyst, or I guess people that aren't like quote unquote DevOps engineers, probably wouldn't want to be doing this, but there are other functions that love doing these type of things or have a sense of making dashboards and whatnot.
So is this comparable to like for folks who are familiar with Tableau, or maybe they're doing it themselves with Matplotlib and IPython notebooks? Yeah,
like so I don't want to be opening Matplotlib or running Seaborn or something like that and try to make my own things that I can just drag and drop, or I don't want to have to set up a Tableau server. So yeah, it's comparable to that. Or if you had Kibana or something, Elasticsearch, like that's another way to just visualize the data. But yeah, just to recap, I geocoded addresses with Amazon Location Service. I leveraged Eventbridge and Lambda to transform the data, load it to S3, visualize the data with Quicksite, and then I was able to use SAM to automate the entire solution. So that's really all I wanted to show. That's very simple, but very powerful. For me, I was able to identify what meetups I needed to reach out to, just visualize where meetups are, which ones aren't meeting, who should I reach out to and say, hey, your meetup hasn't had a meetup in like X months. Are you interested in starting again? How can we help? So it's very helpful for our team, and it was awesome to build this as well. So any other thoughts or questions on any of the things that I covered?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this generic enough you can apply it to other REST APIs easily?
Yeah, so I mean,
access service, grab data someplace, put it, and react to it.
Right, because the main thing was really just setting up this framework to get data. So this meetup data could be whatever, and then location service can be whatever, some kind of processing, and then Lambda is just connecting everything, Eventbridge. upload the data, then do whatever you want. So it's a very simple template, but it can be very powerful in this building out a data collection process.
So everything inside your SAM deployment box is what you did from SAM. Everything else was CDK or CFTs?
Oh,
like
no,
the location
so
service and Quicksite?
location service, it was code that was just directly embedded in the Python.
Okay.
Yeah, so and same with the Meetup data. The Quicksite its own thing, but
Quicksite
SAM
its own thing, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, this code was in the Lambda, and SAM helped deploy that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the Eventbridge specifically. I mean, Lambdas, you can schedule them on their own schedule, but it seems like you're using Eventbridge, though, to handle some special or different case than just a standard cron-like operation.
No, for this is just every 24 hours, so nothing special.
Okay.
Every 24 hours just kicks off that Lambda function. But I guess it's called a CloudWatch event, and it's being leveraged by Eventbridge. Like you went to the console and looked how to connect those.
Okay.
That's how you get to it. But through SAM, it kind of abstracts that away, which is nice. So I don't have to worry about all those. Like it's just this thing sets up all that. Schedule 24 hours. Yep.
So I guess why wouldn't you just do that in the Lambda function? Because you're saying that is the cron event, a part of Lambda. When you say I want to schedule Lambda, you're enacting Eventbridge behind the scenes, even if you don't know it.
Right.
Okay. And there's no data coming from CloudWatch specifically. It is a CloudWatch event.
The CloudWatch event, yes.
Okay.
So is it Eventbridge? Or
it seems like there's a lot of architecture here.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was like,
go ahead,
well, Calvin, you were asking about Eventbridge, but are you using step functions, or is it Eventbridge on the backside for that scheduling?
It's Eventbridge. So
okay.
Yeah. So Lambda. Yeah. So basically, Eventbridge is invoking that Lambda function to run every 24 hours, and it's running.
Got it.
Yeah, it makes more sense when you lay it out and describe the whole stack of cloud resources that are there. So I mean, can you dive a little deeper on Quicksite? I mean, can you show off some, like, I guess maybe what are some features of Quicksite that make it advantageous for folks who may be coming from like a Tableau background or other analytics package background, like you mentioned Kibana and a couple others?
Yeah, for Quicksite, the big value add is just being integrated with the AWS ecosystem right off the bat. So if you had Redshift or RDS, you had some kind of data analysis that you need to easily port over without having to wrangle everything together. Quicksite has that built in fairly easily.
So the data connectors are all just like native to Amazon. Well, there's lots of others here too.
Yeah, there's lots of other stuff. So I just click new data set, and like it has GitHub, Twitter, ServiceNow, all the stuff that's already ready to go. Redshift. This is my personal account, so nothing crazy is in here. But it's everything that's ready to go, ready to use. So that's the big thing. So if you have data sets that you're ready to use, you can easily port them over. Dashboarding tools. I mean, every dashboard tool can do stuff these days, but there's one thing that also can do, it can schedule refresh, so it can tell you how often to refresh that data. So for my thing, I said I want to refresh it every 24 hours, and it'll pull the latest data for that dashboard. So that's another thing that Quicksite's doing in the background. Once the data is there, you can schedule the refresh. You can say how long you want to refresh. It has things about email, so it has some built-in tools to just help dashboard users, and that's one of the big value adds.
So in the data sources, you were going over a huge list of them right there. Does this support Prometheus data sources? So if I wanted to put this in front of Prometheus, I could?
Yes.
I see time stream.
Might have to see custom. Yeah, I don't see that. Yeah.
So if I did have a Prometheus data source gathering metrics off my servers, how would I integrate it here into Quicksite? Is that possible?
I don't see why not. I'm trying to see what would the best way to do that. when you have to upload the data to S3. That might be the way, because it has manual things for Redshift, SQL. There might be a way to add connectors. I've not done it myself, but I'm sure that's a very useful use case.
So then my next question is, what is this solution you developed your cost to run as far as like a ongoing monthly cost? As you're collecting that data, does Quicksite have what's the pricing model for Quicksite? What's the pricing model for, well, the only place you're storing data right now is in
S3. So it's
S3. Okay.
So the compute costs are negligible and the data set's not big. There is two pricing differences for Quicksite. There's an enterprise Quicksite, which for this solution I don't need to use. So there's like a standard Quicksite that doesn't really have a cost associated. Because the enterprise one does have a monthly cost.
So what is the billing like for this version of Quicksite?
Yeah, because I'm using just the standard one, it's not really. Pull up the billing page.
I don't know. I don't believe you. I know when I go to do it, when I go to do like Athena queries, if it's a large log file, I'm like, it's $1 a query sometimes, or 70 cents.
Oh yeah, see, this is the enterprise one, so standard edition. Standard edition for $9 a month. So there's a Quicksite project using Quicksite, but for something simple as my solution is not really a cost because of the compute capacity and the data is relatively small. But for Quicksite has a price if you were to use that. Standard versus enterprise are different solutions for that.
Okay.
But
so you would be paying $9 a month,
right?
Well, or $12 month to month. So
right.
there's not a just pay for what you eat model with that, other than it's like space, like capacity, like storage.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is just the standard.
Yeah.
I'm using Quicksite regularly.
So for lunch money, you can have fabulous dashboards.
So very helpful for this data analysis, getting that data, understanding it, instead of trying to go through meetup.com and trying to get that data yourself.
Awesome. Do others have questions for Banjo? I know we had, okay, so PW had a question about security, trust, and privacy queries and data retention, but I think everything you were showing as far as Amazon location services, there's no private data in there, correct? Like that's just like convert from zip code or city name to lat long.
Yeah, this is just like, it's like it says, running ERC behind the background to get that data, and it's passing, and I'm just getting this JSON back, nothing crazy there.
Interesting. So now you've entered my new favorite game, my old favorite game of how do you pronounce a specific technology? Because you said ERC and I said Esri.
Oh, Esri, ERC, yes.
Interesting. Okay, so there's no privacy concerns around that location service necessarily.
Yeah, because it's like I'm calling an API call right here. Like, guess what privacy concerns would you have?
Wow, PW, does that satisfy your privacy needs? We have an international man of mystery amongst us. Did he leave? Where is he? I don't even see him anymore. Okay, we'll skip his question. Madhavi asked about, thanks for sharing. This is very helpful. Will you be open to doing a one-on-one session to help set up tracking? Actually, do you have more details you want to add to that, Mojave?
Hi, Calvin. So not sure if this is the right forum to discuss this, but so I am internal AWS and I'm running user groups for Amazon Connect, and I'd just like to know if we've just started, we've just launched these, and would just like to know if this is something that we can get help with tracking data and visualizing data for our user groups.
Yeah, so I just linked my blog post that actually walks through how I started this as well. So this could be a good point just to see like another way of how I built this. I have some code you can copy. There's also the Meetup API playground. I'll link that as well. So this allows you to actually go to meetup.com and test the GraphQL API. So here is basically very simple. I know you've moved away from Meetup, but if you're using Meetup, that's kind of the de facto place where most of the Meetups are. So that's, I don't know, does MeetingPlaceio have a GraphQL API? If not, maybe that's a fun project to make.
I don't know. They actually have a rich standard REST API, but I don't know about the GraphQL API.
Great, this is helpful. Thank you for sharing the link.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Anyone else got questions? If not, we've got a door prize to give away, and I want to make sure we show much gratitude to our illustrious speaker. So
I'll also link a survey because I like to get feedback and
awesome
survey. Yeah, so please fill that out. And if you like to speak at a meetup, I also like to say I want to speak at a meetup, and I'll pass that along.
Cool. Well, we should, Laura, we'll make sure we send out that link to the survey in our wrap up for this as well. Awesome. Well, yeah, give big round of applause to Banjo. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.